On Thanksgiving morning, my neighbor poured motor oil all over my porch steps so guests would slip and leave. My grandfather nearly fell. I installed cameras, reported it, and on Black Friday, the police hauled him away right as he was hanging his Christmas lights, handcuffed on a ladder, while everyone took pictures. I've lived in a small town outside Knoxville, Tennessee, for most of my life. The kind of town where people still wave when they pass each other, where neighbors swap tomatoes over fences, and the 4th of July parade has more tractors than floats. I moved into this house 11 years ago, thinking it would be the perfect spot to settle down, raise a family, and grow old. It's a quiet cul-de-sac, mostly retirees or working-class folks who keep their yards trimmed and don't cause trouble. Then Doug moved in. Doug came along 3 years ago, and everything changed. The peace? Gone. The friendly hellos? Replaced with snide looks. At first, I tried to be neighborly. I really did. I brought over a plate of cookies when he moved in. He opened the door, stared at them, and said, "I don't eat sugar." "You should have asked." I laughed, thinking he was joking. He wasn't. Doug's one of those guys who thinks the world owes him something. 2 divorces, no kids, retired early from a job he doesn't like to talk about, and now spends most of his days complaining about other people's lives from behind his blinds. The kind of man who polices how long your trash can sit on the curb. Who times how long guests stay parked in front of his house. Who once knocked on my door because my Halloween decorations were too scary for kids. He hated that I had people over. Especially during the holidays. Every year, I host Thanksgiving. It's a tradition that means a lot to my family. My wife, my kids, my parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, we all pile in and eat ourselves stupid. It's warm, chaotic, full of laughter. Doug hates it. Last year, he called the cops because my cousins parked on the street in front of his house. The cop actually apologized to me, said, "We've had a few calls from him before." I tried to brush it off. This year, though? This year, Doug went too far. I stepped out onto the porch to light the smoker and immediately noticed something wrong. The wood on the porch steps looked shiny. Slick. I got closer and saw the top 3 steps were coated in some thick, greasy substance. I crouched down and sniffed. The smell hit me instantly, burnt, acrid, unmistakable. Motor oil. I touched it with a paper towel. Black. Slippery. Fresh. And it wasn't spilled. It was poured, evenly across each step, like someone had taken their time. I looked around. No footprints. No container. Just the quiet morning and the faint hum of Doug's porch light across the way. My first thought was my grandfather. He's 82, walks with a cane. He was due to arrive in an hour. If he stepped on that. I didn't get angry right away. I just stood there, stunned, staring at it. My wife came out and saw my face. "What's wrong?" I held up the paper towel. She sniffed it, grimaced, then whispered, "Was it Doug?" She didn't have to ask. We both knew. Who else would do this? We cleaned it up fast. I scrubbed it down 3 times, laid down salt just in case. I saved the paper towel, bagged it, took pictures of the stains and the direction it had run down the stairs. But our family showed up. Food was cooked. Laughter filled the house. But I couldn't enjoy any of it. Every time someone went outside, I hovered. Every step down those stairs made my stomach twist. Then, around 3 p.m., it almost happened. My grandfather stepped out with his cane, walking slow, and missed his footing by half an inch. He swayed, nearly fell forward, and caught himself on the railing. My uncle grabbed him just in time. Everyone laughed it off, but I was boiling inside. I knew then, I wasn't going to let this slide. I ordered 2 security cameras off Amazon. Overnight delivery. One for the porch. One pointed at the narrow fence gap Doug liked to lurk behind. I also drove out to AutoZone and picked up a small bottle of motor oil. The same kind I'd used on my truck years ago. Just in case. I wanted to be able to match it. I didn't sleep much. Every creak outside made me jump. We were cleaning up breakfast when I got the alert on my phone. Motion detected. I opened the app and hit live feed. There he was. Doug. Wearing his ridiculous U.S. Marines hoodie he always parades around in like a badge, despite the fact that no one's seen proof he ever served, holding a red plastic gas can. He looked around, crouched, and poured something on the bottom 2 steps. Then smiled. Actually smiled. Walked back across the lawn without a care in the world. I downloaded the footage. Then I went straight to the evidence bag, pulled out yesterday's paper towel. Still greasy. Still reeking. I called the sheriff's office. An officer came by within an hour. Young guy, serious face. When I showed him the footage, he leaned back and said, "You want to press charges?" I nodded. "You're lucky no one fell," he said. "We've had cases like this go bad." He asked if I had any more evidence. I gave him the paper towel. He nodded and left, said they'd be back. I didn't expect what came next. Doug was out front, halfway up a tall ladder, hanging Christmas lights on his garage. I was in the living room when I heard the squad car pull up. I ran outside. 2 officers stepped out. One of them had zip ties. The other called up to him. "Doug Richards?" Doug looked down. Smirked. "Yeah? What's this about?" "Step down, sir. I'm busy. Come back later. This is not a request." Doug scoffed, turned back to his lights. That's when one of the officers said, loud and clear, "You're being placed under arrest for attempted assault with a hazardous substance." I swear you could hear a pin drop. Then Doug did the dumbest thing possible. He threw the stapler in his hand. Didn't hit anyone, but it clattered on the driveway. That's all it took. They climbed up, 1 step at a time, and pulled him down, cuffed him halfway on the ladder. His foot got caught and he half fell, dangling, face flushed. I couldn't help it. I took a photo. So did my neighbor across the street. And the guy next door. Within 5 minutes, 3 different people were filming. Doug was yelling the whole time they walked him to the squad car. "This is harassment. You're arresting me for oil? You've got nothing," one officer said calmly. "We have video evidence, sir. And you're lucky no one was seriously hurt." Doug's voice cracked as they pushed his head down into the car. "You're all sheep. That guy's lying. He set me up." Neighbors stood on the sidewalks, whispering, watching. Kids pointed from driveways. A woman down the block asked if she could send the video to the homeowners association. People don't forget when someone gets arrested in broad daylight on a ladder. Especially not here. I thought that would be the end of it. But it wasn't. Around 9 a.m., I got a knock on the door. I opened it to find a man in a dark gray coat holding a clipboard. "Are you Mr. Wesley?" "Yes. I'm Doug Richards' lawyer. We'd like to speak with you." I stepped outside and shut the door behind me. "What for?" "He claims you're framing him. He says you poured the oil yourself and doctored the footage." I laughed. "You think I poured motor oil on my own steps where my elderly grandfather could fall?" The lawyer didn't smile. "We're requesting that you preserve any additional footage. Also, we may subpoena your home's security footage for the past 72 hours. "Go ahead," I said. I already gave copies to the police. He handed me a document. It wasn't a lawsuit, but a formal request to retain evidence. I signed it, feeling a fresh wave of anger boiling up. Doug, I called the sheriff's office to give them a heads up. The officer I'd spoken to before told me not to worry. "We've reviewed the footage," he said. "It's crystal clear. Doug walks onto your property, pours the oil, walks back. You don't even open your door until hours later." Still, it messed with my head. I spent the rest of Saturday thinking about worst-case scenarios. What if Doug found a way to twist it in court? What if he sued me for defamation? Would I have to get a lawyer too? Sunday morning, I was getting the kids ready for church when my wife shouted from the living room. "He's outside!" I ran to the window. Doug was back. Standing in his front yard. No cuffs, no squad car. Just him, glaring at our house. No decorations. No lights. Just that nasty, silent stare. I opened the front door. "You got something to say?" I called out. He didn't answer. Just turned and walked back inside. I got a call from Officer Daly, the one who'd handled the arrest. "We executed a search warrant at Doug's property," he said. "You found something? Same type of oil in his garage. Same red container as the one in your video. And this is important, we found rags with oil residue in his outdoor trash. Lab confirmed it matches what you gave us." My heart finally slowed down for the first time in days. "He's pushing back, but we're charging him with reckless endangerment, vandalism, and criminal trespassing. His lawyer's trying to work a deal, but honestly, with this evidence, I doubt he'll walk away clean." The next day, we found tire tracks on our lawn. Deep ones, like someone drove through on purpose during the night. We didn't see it happen. No footage from the angle where it happened. But we knew. That night, I filed for a restraining order. The restraining order was granted on a temporary basis the following day. Doug wasn't allowed within 100 feet of our property. But rules had never stopped him before. 3 days later, I caught him standing across the street, just far enough away to stay legal, with a pair of binoculars. Not subtle. Not smart. I took a photo. Emailed it to the sheriff's office. Officer Daly replied within an hour. "Keep documenting everything. Don't engage." My cousin Mark, a real no-nonsense guy from Memphis, came back to visit. He'd heard about everything. He didn't like what he saw. "This guy's messing with your family, man. That's war." He wasn't wrong. But I wanted to stay within the law. I wasn't going to do anything stupid, especially not while Doug was digging himself deeper. Still, Mark had a point. We walked around my property, double-checked the camera angles, and noticed something strange by the side fence. A small hole had been dug, just a few inches deep, behind the hydrangeas. Looked like someone had been trying to dig under the fence. "Dogs don't dig like that," Mark said. "That's a person." Sure enough, the soil was loose and fresh. I checked the cameras. One of them didn't quite reach that corner. I adjusted it right then and there. I got the alert. Doug. 4:12 a.m. Hoodie. Gloves. Crouching by the fence. Trying to crawl underneath it. I downloaded the video and called the sheriff's office again. This time, they didn't just log the complaint. They sent 2 deputies out to Doug's place that afternoon. Later that day, Officer Daly called me. "You're not going to believe what we found. He was trying to install a trail camera in your yard. Said he was gathering evidence for his defense." My jaw dropped. He wasn't just trying to watch us. He was trying to spy on us, record us without our knowledge. That changed everything. The DA got involved. With the videos, photos, oil-stained rags, and now the attempted trespassing with surveillance equipment, they started stacking the charges. Doug got hit with a restraining order violation, plus attempted unlawful surveillance, in addition to everything else. He was formally served the new charges that Friday morning. I watched from my window as a process server handed Doug a thick envelope. Doug read the first page, then screamed and ripped it in half. Right in front of his rose bushes. He kicked over one of his Christmas decorations. One of those blow-up snowmen. Popped it right there. A week later, something even more unbelievable happened. A neighbor, Mr. Green, 2 doors down, came over holding a yellow legal pad. "I think you need to see this," he said. Turns out, Doug had been writing letters. Angry, paranoid letters. About me. About the neighborhood. Rants, accusations, even threats. "He's turning everyone against me. They'll regret messing with me. Someone needs to teach that family a lesson." Green found them stuffed in his mailbox. Not stamped. Not mailed. Just left there. I called the sheriff again. This time, they searched Doug's house. With a warrant. They found a spiral notebook filled with scribbled names and notes about nearly every person on the block, times we left for work, when packages arrived, even notes about our kids. That was it. The case just escalated into something bigger. After the sheriff's office found Doug's creepy notebook and confirmed he'd been writing obsessive notes about the neighborhood, including times my kids walked home from school, I lost it. I wasn't scared anymore. I was furious. Doug wasn't just annoying. He wasn't just petty. He had become dangerous. The district attorney filed a full case. His charges now included reckless endangerment, criminal trespassing, harassment, violation of a protective order, attempted unlawful surveillance, disorderly conduct, intent to cause harm. His court date was set for early February. Doug tried one last move. He filed a civil suit against me for defamation, emotional distress, and character damage. Said I organized the neighborhood against him. That I faked the oil incident. He wanted $25,000 and a written apology. That was the moment I almost cracked. I sat in my garage, staring at the papers. I hadn't wanted this war. I didn't start it. But now I was buried in it. I had lost sleep, my kids were scared, and my wife cried more than once. And now this man was suing me? February 9th. The courtroom was full. Not just our family. Half the neighborhood showed up. Quiet, polite, but clearly there to support us. Even Mr. Green wore a tie. Doug came in wearing a wrinkled blue suit and scowling like a cartoon villain. His lawyer tried to spin it. Said he was a misunderstood private citizen, wrongly accused in a witch hunt. Our lawyer barely had to speak. We had video. We had photos. We had timestamps, evidence logs, the oil-stained rag, the same red container from his garage. And then there was the notebook. Doug had written things like, "Wesley thinks he's smart, but I'll shut his family up soon." And, "Won't stop until he pays." The judge read that aloud. Doug went pale. Guilty on all counts. He got 8 months in county jail and 3 years probation. Ordered to stay at least 500 feet from me and my family. He lost his lawsuit. Had to pay all my legal fees. They took him away in cuffs, again. But this time, there were no Christmas lights, no audience, no show. Just a cold, gray courtroom. A few weeks later, I got a letter. From Doug. I almost threw it out. But I opened it. Inside was a single sentence. "You may have one, but I'll always remember what you did." That letter went straight to the sheriff's department. They added it to the record. Another violation. Another nail in the coffin. He ended up getting another 30 days for breaking his no-contact order, all because he couldn't stop himself from trying to intimidate me one last time. Revenge isn't always loud. It's not always a punch or a scream or a showdown in the street. Sometimes revenge is simple. You set up a camera. You wait. You let the other guy bury himself. You stay calm while he self-destructs. Doug wanted to ruin our Thanksgiving. Instead, he ruined his own life. He started the fight. I just made sure he couldn't hurt anyone ever again. And every time I walk down my porch steps now, I smile. Because I know justice didn't just come late. It came hard. And it came on a ladder.